Thanks for staying with us here on the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast. Most Americans are not happy with their income taxes that they're going to have to pay this year. Shocker, right? Well, we're going to talk about that and ways that you can lower your tax bill, especially in retirement. And have you heard of inflation? You've probably heard of stagflation and even shrinkflation. There's a lot of terms that they're throwing at us. But have you heard of fun-flation? What does that mean? Especially as you're going into retirement or maybe already in retirement. And of course, we're going to talk about taxes, because Mike Kinnett, Ryan Herbert are here for you each and every week to help you grow, keep, and distribute your wealth in the most tax-efficient manner possible. My name is Mike, here with you as well, ready to learn and have some fun. Ryan Herbert in the retirement hot seat today. Ryan, how are you? Great to see you.
I'm doing wonderful. It's good to have a regular week going, because we, Mike and myself and Prostatis, we celebrated 20 years of being in business last week. So, we had a pretty big event with WCBM here. We did a live recording of the show. We had, 60, 70 people show up for the live recording. And then, we had a pretty huge anniversary party that we had, well over 100 people show up of our clients, over the years. And some of them, Mike even had some of his original clients from 20 years ago. So it was really a good time. But, now it's nice to be back in the swing of things versus having the office just kind of clustered from the overall party.
20 years is a long time. Did you ever think that you would be here today when you start helping people? It's got to be a very rewarding feeling. And it's not about you guys. It's not about us. It's about the people. It's about your clients who with 20 years, they kind of become family.
Yeah, it's one of those things where nowadays, well, how it used to be, most of our clients right now, they pretty much got one job right out of college, and they stayed with that company for their entire lifetime. They work for one company their entire lifetime. Some of them are fortunate enough to have a pension, but nowadays it's pretty unheard of. Most people switch jobs. I think it's like between 4 and 6 times over their lifetime. And, myself, I've been here, as I said, Mike's the firm itself has been here for 20 years. Mike started it over 20 years ago, back in 2003. I joined him at the beginning of 2007. So, going on 17 years for myself here, but, I never really put much thought into how long these relationships really last. And it's one of those things where I'm often seeing radio listeners, people come to our seminars, and my clients in their late 50s when they're gearing up for retirement, and really seeing them up to that retirement point, seeing them through, enjoying retirement, doing all the things that they wanted to do, up to the point where they start to slow down as they get older, and then eventually unfortunately, health starts to fail. And, the cycle of the business is that I do, unfortunately see clients pass away, but it's, knowing them for a number of years. And like you said, really having that relationship. And that's really why Mike and I do it, is to have that personal relationship. It's not really just that transactional financial aspect of it, but it's more getting to know the clients, getting to know the family, really kind of finding out everything that's going on. And when clients come in, I have clients, Jerry and Marilyn. They're one of my first.
I thought you were going to say your favorites, but I was going to warn you to be careful with that.
Favorites. They're all my favorites. Whoever's with me at that moment, they're my favorites. But Jerry and Marilyn are one of my very first sets of clients from when I left T. Rowe Price and I came over here all those years ago. And it's anytime anyone ever asked me, can I talk to some of your existing clients? Let me ask some questions. I always give them Jerry and Marilyn, because they're just such, raving fans of mine. And, every time he comes in, he just says, Ryan, I'm so happy that Marilyn and I made the decision to plan our retirement with you and Mike and the team, because ever since we took those steps all those years ago, we've never had to worry about what's going on in the stock market, because we know that, we have the income that we need. The stock market goes up, the stock market goes down, but each and every month we have exactly what we want. We're able to do the things we want to do. They just celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary, and they just took the entire family on a trip. And that was something that Jerry and myself and Marilyn had been planning for, the past 5 years. And he came back and said, I'm so thankful for, everything that you and Mike have done for us over the years. And if that's the type of relationship that you're looking for with a financial advisor that Mike and I and our team here at Prostatis have with our clients, give us a call, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Sit down with Mike, myself, and our team here, and we will help put you on that path to retirement so you too can retire with confidence, just like my clients, Jerry and Marilyn. And you get to come in and say, we're so happy with everything that we've done over the years. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040.
I'm very glad to hear that. It always puts a smile on my face as well. Also at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Again, that's thesavvyinvestorradio.com. We talk about relationships. We talk about legacy planning. We talk about multi-generational retirement planning. And all of that is in with Mike and Ryan and the team at Prostatis Financial. You mentioned planning. And that's a big part of it. I mean, we always hear what's on people's mind: taxes, making their money last as long as they do, having the income. And also, what do I do with my 401k and the market? It's up, it's down, it's driving me crazy. I don't know what to do. I'm getting close to retirement. I don't want to lose any more money, which I found this interesting. There was a new study by Charles Schwab Research that looked at market timing. And it reviewed the S&P 500 over 20 years. Each investor that they gave them $2,000. The perfect market timing investor invested at every low point, every low trading point. But here's the kicker: at the end of the study, the investor that used dollar cost averaging, and I want you to explain that to us here in just a minute, but dollar cost averaging and put money in the first day of each month was only $10,000 behind the perfect market timer. I mean, this stuff is complicated enough. Now, it kind of worries me, because do we just invest when we get paid and use the dollar cost averaging, or should we try to capture those low points?
Well, that study, what Schwab did is they said that, everyone starts with $2,000. One person starts, they sell at every high point, they buy at every low point, because that's the goal: buy low, sell high. They did one where someone was buying high and selling low. They said someone invests the same dollar amount in the first of the month, the same dollar amount at the beginning of the year. All kinds of different scenarios. And like you said, the person who had perfect market timing, meaning the person who figured out that every low point in the market was the perfect time to buy and every high point in the market was the perfect time to sell, only ended up $10,000 ahead of the other investor that was buying that same dollar amount on the first of the month. And like you said, that's called dollar cost averaging. And that's what, people do pretty much their entire lives, is actually dollar cost averaging, because dollar cost averaging is putting the same dollar amount in a consistent period of time, the same time, so once a month or twice a month, however you get paid, putting that money in, so that as you're putting money into your investments, if you're buying, Apple stock, as it's going up, so you're buying less and less shares as it goes up, because you're using that same dollar amount. You put $50 a week in, or $50 a month in. And then conversely, as Apple stock is falling, you're still putting that same $50 a month in, but instead of, the flip side to it, as the stock is rising, I'm getting less shares as it goes up, but it is growing. But then when it comes down, I'm buying the same dollar amount, but I'm getting more shares, so that when it starts to turn around and makes that upward swing again, that's when, my investment's going to grow more. So, dollar cost averaging is something that nobody ever really thinks about when, you're doing investing on your own. If you have a brokerage account, you have $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, or however much you have in just a regular brokerage account, everyone always thinks about the market timing aspect of it, because that's what people really, the emotional reaction to it. And they ignore the fact that the strategy that they've been using all these years inside of their 401k is completely separate from what they're doing in that brokerage account, because they're letting that brokerage account dictate emotions. The emotions are dictating that account. They're saying, here's when you should buy, here's when you should sell, versus just having that plan in place and sticking to that plan. And that's the one thing that Mike and myself and our team here that we always talk about is having that plan. If you're going to retire on X date, have that written down. If you want to know where your income is going to come from for the first 5 years of retirement, have that number written down. Have the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Have a retirement plan in place that is detailed and it says step by step, here are all the things that are going to happen in retirement. Here's how I'm going to make those things happen. And most importantly, stick to that plan. Don't try to be that market timer. Don't let emotions kind of get in your way of having that successful retirement. And if you're sitting there thinking, the stock market as of lately has had its up days and it's had its down days, I really want to have a plan in place that takes the stress out of worrying about the market, that takes the emotion out of worrying about the market, and having a plan of knowing that if I follow these steps, I'm going to have that successful retirement that I've always dreamed about. And I encourage you to give us a call at 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. If you're feeling anxious about the stock market, if you're feeling nervous about your retirement, give us a call. Come in and sit down with Mike, myself, and our team here at Prostatis, and let us put together your very own comprehensive plan that talks about investments, that talks about the risks you're taking, talks about fees, talks about the income you're going to have in retirement, long-term care, taxes, estate planning, all those aspects of a financial plan that you need to have all in one place. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040.
You guys wrap that up in a bow and call it the 401k X-ray. So if you call in, make sure to ask about the 401k X-ray to sit down with Mike and Ryan and get started on your plan to make sure that your money is not to the whims of the market. Perhaps you'd like to time it yourself. I would invite you to talk to them to see if that is going to be what's best for you, according to this latest study. Makes you think. If a lot of you are like I am, and a lot of people that I've spoken with, we just don't have the time for that. So 866-597-1040. Get started today with the 401k X-ray. You can also go online at the SavvyInvestorRadio.com. Again, that's the SavvyInvestorRadio.com front page there. They've made it very easy for you to connect and talk with Mike and Ryan and the team at Prostatis. Just click on the 401k X-ray button at the SavvyInvestorRadio.com and get started on your plan for retirement.